kind of about music podcast.
Andy, welcome to the podcast, man. How you doing?
Mate. How you doing? I'm good, thank you.
This is Andy Cortes, guitar extraordinaire, and this is Tim Jacobs,
Hello.
helper extraordinaire and bass player.
There you go.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm
Cool.
good. How are you?
I'm alright. Andy, you're on the way to rehearsal today, so we've got about 40 minutes, something like that. So yeah. So you've had a pretty busy time recently, man. What's going on with guitar?
Mate, I'm just playing guitar, yeah.
Dude, I watched the you were on the Saturday Night Live thing with James Bay the other day.
Yeah.
Dude, that was what an awesome show, man. Tell us
Yeah,
about
man,
that.
it was good fun. Just a lot of...
What's it like for a start? Like, how many days did you go out to New York? Because like a couple of days later, you were back playing football with us. So
Yeah.
in West London, I was like, oh, you were on TV the other day.
No, went on a Wednesday
Yeah.
and then had a rehearsal. Those things you have an afternoon rehearsing the thing a couple of times on the Thursday. Friday chilled, and then Saturday did the thing.
Sweet.
And it went out. We did it. Yeah, did it live, and I think they got like a time difference, so it was actually on quite late.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it was like
about midnight.
So you were
or
out there for
something.
like 3-4 days, and in general.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then
fucking hell.
literally flew back straight after the thing, and then got back home, and then played football.
and that's in New York, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go to New York last year. Very embarrassing. My girlfriend paid for it and everything, and we managed to move house the day before we went, and lost my passport, so we didn't go to New
Fucking
York.
hell.
Yeah, she still hates me for it, man. She's over it now. She was laughing about it last night. She was like, trying to get me to rub her feet, and I was like, come on, I'm watching the TV or whatever, and she's like, no. Girlfriend, well maybe not, but girlfriend's like, I'm sure your missus is the same. Like, come on, rub my feet. I was like, come on. She's like, New York.
New York.
So she just
mate.
brings it up every so often.
Still holding it
Like,
against
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Jim, take the rubbish out. I don't want
I
to
mean,
do
that's
that.
fair enough, really, isn't
New
it?
York.
New York. Oh, mate, you're paying the price.
Exactly. We're going to go back at some point, man.
Yeah.
We got some of the money back, but yeah. So what's it like? Is it kind of like a big warehouse, the TV studio of it then? And
It's in the Rockefeller Center.
right, okay.
So yeah, it's cool. I think they got quite a few studios in there, and yeah, I think when there's certain series is on, they build the set
Yeah.
for the show. They think they did Jimmy Fallon in there as well,
Right, okay, yeah.
and that. But I think they're on different floors. I think.
Right, okay, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's how it works. Or maybe they build it for when they air it, or when the series is on and that. But yeah, man, it was cool.
It looks great. It must have been nerve-wracking because there's a studio audience as well.
Yeah.
And do you get like a rehearsal in the studio and like...
You get a rehearsal in the studio, but then that's without the audience, and obviously it isn't live. So when you actually come to doing it, it's not a pre-record in any way. That where some of the other ones are.
Right, okay,
and you can a lot of the time you can get the option of redoing them.
Right.
But this one was like, no, this is...
Because there was a famous one with, what's her name? Jessica Simpson's sister, who was famous for a while, the one with the brown hair. She
Ashley
did
Simpson.
Yeah. Did you ever see the thing that she did? It was maybe on like...
know that.
Maybe on like... one of the ones, one of those American TV shows, and they came in, and maybe they'd done it in the wrong pitch, or they'd got the sample rate wrong.
Was it a lip sync or maybe playback or something?
There was some sort of error, and she basically did 10 seconds of it and just walked off, and the band kind of
Really?
carried on. Yeah, you've never seen that?
Fucking hell, no.
So it's pretty end of a career, so...
Yeah, savage.
But that must have been because it was live TV as well, I suppose. But
Yeah.
yours is like, it's a live show, but recorded, and then...
Yeah. I
aired
think that's
later.
why people get quite stressed out about it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can imagine, like...
Yeah.
Like, anytime I know there's a camp... Like, when we used to... On the previous podcast, when we were jamming, just saying to you, like... One of the reasons we're just kind of doing chat now, because it's way easier to set up. I don't really have the facilities to do the jam and everything. But also, just like... You've got a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
And you want to get it right. And nobody wants to... Everyone gets a little... When there's a camera on, everything becomes a bit more difficult, so...
Yeah, absolutely.
But no,
Everyone
it was
gets a
great.
bit
It was great.
insecure and paranoid.
Exactly, yeah. And you start to get that kind of thing where you second guess yourself when you're going
Yeah.
for something or whatever.
Yeah.
So what? So you did 2 songs, didn't you? You did Wild Love and
Wild Love.
Pink Lemonade.
And his newest single called Pink Lemonade.
Yeah, and that's out. He's got another one coming out like in a few days or something. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's Pink Lemonade. I don't know if... I think maybe you could hear it,
Yeah.
but it actually gets released or or something. I don't know. I should know, but I don't because we're quite deep in it.
No.
We're about to start a little run of dates. So I don't know anything. I see it on Instagram. I'm like, do you know what I mean? It's pretty cool.
I remember learning that one. Yeah. That's the thing in it. You're just like, where are you? Where are you off to on the run of dates? So where are you going first?
We're going to I go to LA tomorrow, which is wicked, and we're doing something there. I don't know quite what it is. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't.
Oh
even
yeah,
know.
dude.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
But no. But the first gig is in Seattle.
All right, awesome.
So we go there and then we drive up to Seattle, and I think that's on Sunday, and then we go down the West Coast. We do a few shows down that side of America, and then Chicago, and then like New York, Philadelphia, Toronto, and Boston.
Oh, dude, that's sick, man.
So they'll be good, but they're kind of not small. Well, yeah, kind of a smaller capacity, I think, to get reacquainted with people and to you know the set's pretty cool. We just did a show last week in Brixton.
Yes, I saw that, man.
Cool.
Yeah, if I was more organised, I would have tried to get down to that. But it's just like we've only just been moving in this week, and we've had friends over.
Man.
Been a nightmare. But yeah, I've never seen James live. But I was talking to my dad that when I went home at the week, and I was saying that you were going to be on and like showing who you play for and stuff, and yeah, it's great. Like he's live. Like you were telling me, it's not necessarily what you'd imagine. He's a lot more of a showman, and
James is wicked. Well, also James got a lot of. I don't know. I think he's got a lot of tools as well. He's not just somebody who's been given a song to sing in a studio and then stuff. You know, he's a musician as well and plays guitar, plays acoustic, plays lead, sings. You know, and he's good up there. So you know, so when he does his thing there, I think people might just go there to see Hold Back the River, and maybe they might not know how that will come across. But it's good fun playing those songs because there's like real cool music interludes and like building like ambience and things like that, and little guitar solos and things like that. And
so in terms of playing, then when the playing that you're doing, like what's your kind of main role in the band? Is it kind of adding texture, or is it kind of lead lines, or is it, because I know like I remember I've done it at functions and that sort of thing, but even that little bit to Hold Back the River, he's got kind of a particular style, hasn't he, where he's got that kind of bass note and the third
kind of root and thirds.
Yeah. And when you're like sometimes when when you've got a gig coming up and you've got a song like that to learn, like you rush it and you go, I know what it does. But those things, you have to just make sure that you know where they are.
Yeah. To be honest, there are certain things that he does. I don't even know how he does it. I don't know. But there's on the first record, there was definitely particular parts that he'd played. Yeah. That I kind of stuck to.
Right. Because he's recording all the guitar parts himself, and then you go and like make that work live.
So kind of traditionally how we do it is he, pick out things that he'd put on the record, and sometimes he's putting more than 2 tracks of guitar on a record, and so then there's then you pick out the ones that I suppose are the most effective live, if that makes sense. So Let It Go is one of those. Let It Go is kind of like an intertwining guitar part. Yeah. So it's like, I remember when I first was trying to learn it, I thought I'd figured it out, and then I got into a room with him and I was like, so this, and he's like, nah, that, and then this, and then I realised that it was it was completely different.
Yeah, just a change of approach. I find that. Do you know what I find? I find that seems like he's not he's a great player, but he's not from the session world where it's kind of he's done a thing where he's like what we've done with just hundreds and thousands of songs that you've learned, and you kind of have your ways of going about them, and he's got a more personal, unique style. And I know from some of the guys that I've worked with writing, those guys who've maybe come through doing their own music, they end up with quirky ways of doing stuff that's their own, that, like what you're saying, where you look at it and you think, I don't even know how someone, is that a capo that they're using there, or is this like,
it does a lot of drop D, down a step. The guitars, a lot of them. That's what I've got. Loads of guitar changes. Like some are tuned down.
I saw a poster
a half a step. down a whole step and things like that, and that's quite cool.
Yeah, something I don't mess with much, like different tunings and stuff like that.
I remember doing a gig actually, and just playing "Hold Back the River," and I started the song, and I was in a I was in the wrong key because I was in standard tuning, and they were kind of looking at me, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well, we do it down the thing," and then I kind of missed some of the open strings, but such is life, you know.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure it can happen, man. Especially, like, how long's the actual set then?
About an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
about an hour and 20 minutes. But in answer to your question, yeah, man, I think that comes maybe from writing, the being original. You know, like I don't know, like even Jimi Hendrix is an original sounding guitar player because he writes his songs. So's Clapton. So's anyone.
Sure. Yeah,
you know
I was going to go on to that.
I think that's the marked difference. I think guitar players who maybe don't write songs and stuff, they also have their own style. But I mean you can write songs and just be an instrumentalist. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I do think that helps when you're trying to put across something that you constructed in your own mind, and that will always then feed your originality. If that makes sense.
For sure,
yeah. I mean?
And I think it definitely gives. There's a particular guy that I remember up north, and I'm not saying James is like this, but he'd be, if you said to him, what key is this in, he wouldn't have a clue. If you said to him, what's that chord that you're playing at, he wouldn't have a clue. Like if you said, is it a G sharp minor, he could maybe, I don't know. But he could just come up with something that was just so quirky in his own style and creative, because he wasn't like, and I find this a lot with kind of musicians, if like I've got set ways of doing stuff, which is why it's quicker for me to learn a lot of songs. Yeah. But you have to get out of that when you're writing and try and find those little quick ways. And then somebody develops a character with that, because even in like Wild Love in that song, you can hear the James Bay guitar underneath, can't you? Like if you took away all the production, it would be. It's quite
interesting. A lot of people think it sounds a lot different, and I don't necessarily. Like for me, it's so James.
Yeah.
Like, but because I'm so used to it. But yeah, you're right.
I think it's with the electronic stuff and
and everything. But it's still, you know, I've heard James singing it on acoustic, and when you hear him doing it on an acoustic, you're like, yeah. You know what I mean? It's you know, it's an evolution, but it's also very much the same as well. Well, it's his identity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And in terms of playing it as well, it's you know, when you played like some of the other bits in it.
Because you were following his vocal, weren't you, on the guitar, doing a lot of that, especially near the end.
Yeah, on the Saturday Night Live thing. Playing kind of kind of playing the melody, but kind of in a lead way, in a bluesy.
Yeah,
I don't know, kind of like a rock way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think you probably have to do that live as well to kind of make it.
Yeah, to try and maybe get it. Yeah, just maybe to add a different dimension, and maybe give it a bit of a lift. And obviously then with live drums, and then with the singers and things like that, then it kind of serves a purpose better in that way than it would do in the recording. You know what I mean?
For sure. Because I would look at a song like that as well, and I'd be like, I wouldn't. So how are we going to do this live? What are we going to do live? Like, is it going to be very, very close to original, or are you going to pull it around a bit? And I think you got kind of a nice blend in that,
he's got a nice balance, James. Like, and in fairness, James is always, you know, he's really good, because he kind of, traditionally we kind of just play some music and go round it, and then it kind of happens naturally, you know what I mean?
And then kind of see what grows out of it.
Put some things across, and then they end up becoming. But there genuinely tends to be, with all of these songs, you know, I've played with some people, and you really have to stick to the original and stuff. And sometimes as a guitar player, you're like, but James, there will always be moments in the gig that I'm like, that's never happened before.
And it's quite free. On the gig.
I mean, but within you know, the parameters of the song.
Sure.
But and that's nice, you know. So then when you get up there, you know, there's always going to be something in the moment, which is quite cool. Yeah. And sometimes, as you guys play, sometimes you're playing with some other artists and some other people, and it isn't like that, and then you're a bit like, oh, okay. And that's also cool. Yeah. I suppose you've got to be professional.
True. But I suppose if you're going to do a long tour, like you're away for a month or something like that, if you had to play everything perfect, exactly, exactly as it is on the record every night, I mean, it become kind of, I suppose it would become,
it could become
stale.
a bit tedious and stuff as well. And some people love it.
Yeah,
some people love
course,
that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Some people like getting it right, and some people might not want to add or create another texture or do other things. You know what I mean? And like for me personally, like, you know, you're on about chords and stuff. I don't know any chords.
Yeah.
Like, I know what they sound like. You know, I mean, I know but a basic chords like a G minor, a G minor 7, a G9. But in reality, I don't know that much theory-wise, because I'm not trained at all. I never went to music college or nothing. I just played blues, really. And for me, that was very much training my ear to the instrument. And then as I've gotten older and as I met other musicians, you kind of learn what things sound like.
Yeah,
it's music. What things sound like.
You get like a sound in you, you're like, oh, I wonder what that is.
Yeah, so that's a mine, you know, or whatever. And then so sometimes like for me, the way I've learned how to play music is more my ear rather than something on paper that and trying to make relation, trying to relate certain theory to bits of music. You know, mine's never been like that. But then that will always translate to your ear because essentially that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
you know? And that's what's cool about music, I suppose. Everyone has different ways. And everyone has their own skill sets. And people, it's funny how you can look at something, you can look at the same thing, but you're all seeing something different.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes. Like when you turned up with this guitar part on Let It Go and you were like, this is how it goes. And you were like, it kind of sounds right. And then Joe's like, no.
Absolutely. And then he's like that. And that's nice because then you're without knowing it, sometimes there are things that I'll just be noodling at home and that sounds a bit like James, and you naturally pick things up. Like there are loads of guitar players.
That's how it's done. Yeah, that's how that
there are things that I'm like, you find yourself playing. I find myself playing some James Bay licks, which is cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then and like I watch. You was on about your friend Tom Gledhill earlier. And I've watched some of his things and. I'm like, he sounds badass. Do you know what I mean?
He'll tell you we don't know anything.
But you know what I mean? And like, there's loads of guitar players, even in town, not just like the old famous legends. That I nick bits off of. There's loads of guitar players that I'm like, you listen to them and you're like, or even what's nice is because I play that lick also, and you know where it comes from. Almost, you know what I mean?
When we arrive at the same point.
Yeah. So
I find with guitar licks and stuff like that, you tend to have things that. Because you've been noodling at home and you'll have played it, you'll have heard yourself play it a million times, I'll write it off that lick and I'll be, that idea, and I'll be like, oh, stop doing that. Like, I don't want to hear that again. Yeah. And then I'll do it at a jam or a gig in a solo and I'll think, oh, fuck, I did that lick again. And then someone will come off and go, oh, that lick was great. Or that little part was great. And it's nobody else has heard it as much as what you've heard it. So you kind of second guess yourself with that.
Yeah. I think it's quite easy to get in that habit of like playing the same old licks too much. And it is like, it's good to get out of those habits, but it doesn't mean those licks are bad.
For sure, yeah.
I think it's quite cool. Yeah. I think if you play, I don't know. I think it's quite, you know what I mean? If you're playing your own thing.
Yeah. Well, like B.B. King made his living off like...
Exactly. And I think most guitar players do. Most of the ones that have a sound and the ones that you go, oh, that sounds like one, it could be BB, John Schofield, or like.
So who's some of your favourites? Because I know that you're a big Cream fan.
Yeah, I was
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, man. To be honest, like Albert King, Freddie King, BB King, Buddy Guy.
Yeah, you jammed with Buddy Guy, didn't you?
Yeah, man.
Bobby Guy, I never called him then. Buddy Guy. Yeah,
how was that?
When was
that? So annoying.
That just adds to the funk and the blues.
Oh, no, it was out of tune, and I was like, I could hear it, and then I don't know, I didn't really have a good one.
He'll probably appreciated that.
But it was cool. It was cool.
Where was it?
Yeah. It was in Chicago, man. At his club.
Oh, awesome.
At his club, and he does a run of nights every January for his birthday, I think it is. And yeah, man, like. I think, like Albert, maybe Freddie King, Buddy Guy is like that era. Maybe BB was a bit older, but Buddy Guy, I always identify him as being that generation in between the first electric guys, proper guys, and then your Hendrixes and Eric, and he was blues was his, from what from how I see it, from country blues and things, and then when they went to the cities and was a very much a singer-based thing, and and you had guitar players as well, but in Chicago there was like Muddy Waters, and you had all that harmonica players and singers, and guitar was accompaniment kind of thing. But he and like Albert King and Freddie King and obviously B.B. King, they're so important because they made it a reality that it was a lead instrument. And being a guitar, they were the original guitar heroes, and even Robert Johnson and that before that, and Son House. And
I always think
Lightning
the guitar
Hopkins.
players that era kind of, it's where they start. Before that, the lead instrument was like a trumpet or something like that, and I think people like Buddy Guy, when they start using a little bit of the overdrive and a bit more of a kind of like a cutting sound sort of thing, they're getting closer to that idea and of what the trumpet would have done like before they had electric guitar and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that cuts through, through and things, and then obviously, you know, in the 60s, like a lot of British bands and a lot of American guys just started writing songs around that instrument more, I think, you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, it's quality, and then it becomes rock music.
You can definitely see where Hendrix, who's always been like, surprise, one of my favourites, but where Hendrix took that idea of the kind of the really powerful kind of overdriven thing that would come from Buddy Guy and that sort of thing. And I think Hendrix would have talked about
Albert King and them look like he's got loads of that in there, and Eric's got loads of Freddie King in his playing, like when he was, you know, playing at Les Paul and stuff, and you know the Blues Breaker stuff where basically it's just loud. It's just loud, like and you know he on his those Blues Breakers recordings, you know, he was really, from what I gather, was quite particular about it, and people were like, no, don't do it, it's distorting, and like distortion sounds cool.
Yeah, and it must have been weird back then when they were like, it wasn't such a, like it's established now about guitars can have distortion on, all that sort of thing. But my dad was a musician and he was like, he's 72, he's 71, he was 71 the other week, and he started playing when he was like 14, 15, and they said like there was some people who were like slicing. You'd play guitar through your hi-fi, so you'd plug into your hi-fi, and to get the sound of overdrive or distortion, what you'd do is you'd put slices with razor blades in your speakers to give it the overdrive sound. That's how they. Yeah,
like a broken, he didn't do it like a broken speaker.
But yeah, the Kinks used to do that.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah. It's funny now we try to replicate it in pedals. Basically, something sounding too loud but at a low volume.
What have you got on your rig then when you're going out?
Mate, I'm using 2 amps. Ooh. I'm using a Victory Duchess V40, which is their new combo, and they used to have it in their heads, which is kind of the first generation. But the combo is great. It's really, really good. You've got different power settings on it. It's got a master and.
What wattage is it?
22 watts.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you can get it kind of going.
You can get it going. But what I like about it is that it's not. It has a lot of like maybe clean Fender, like a chimey clean Fender kind of thing. Yeah. But it doesn't get too harsh sometimes, and maybe Fenders and stuff like when they start getting louder, you know, like they can get a bit harsh maybe.
I don't like the hot rods because down at the Piano Works they've got some hot rod amps in, and they're elevated as well, so they're right at ear height. And they're so aggressive on the top end, especially if you get any volume behind them. Or like takes a lot. Like I have an EQ setting on my thing to try and pull some of it out.
Your gain structure right, and try and get like something.
And if you want to play some jangly, funky stuff on a song or something that's quite mellow, it's just not having any of it. It's just in your ear.
But you know what? The amp is amazing. I love that amp because it really it's
is
nice.
That the Victory that you're
talking about? Victory, and that's really nice because that's like a really nice palette for my pedals, and I use like these Caroline effects. These pedals called Caroline effects, and they're amazing, man. You should check them out. They're like lo-fi delays and lo-fi reverbs, and they're amazing. They've got these little freeze options on it, but they sound lovely with the Victory, like really soft and really. It basically takes pedals really well. Yeah. And I have an AC Booster Plus, which I kind of have the left side of it on all the time.
Is that the exotic thing?
Yes,
Their stuff's so good.
So I got there, but the Plus has got 2 banks of it, and I basically use the cleaner on the left-hand side of it just as basically my go-to. Some people have that a lot. Some people use an RC booster and they always have it on as a springboard go from. So I have that, and then I also have another amp. I have a Marshall Astoria,
right? Okay,
which is a newer. They kind of got these big KT 66s in them and stuff, and they sound like more old,
right? Okay,
kind of thing.
You doing something the other day?
Yeah, I was doing a little thing with Marshall, filming actually for a new amp called the Origin amps that they're putting out.
Yeah, man.
And they're kind of a clean amp basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'd really dig them, man. They take pedals really well.
Cool.
They sound really nice, and they're quite affordable.
Yeah.
Don't sound too harsh, and they've got this interesting thing called a tilt option, like which I don't know if you know, like in the old Plexis, they used to have. You would wire that you'd have four inputs, and you would wire the things to get maybe to maybe augment your low end, or augment your top end, and make it like a treble boost.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But you have that option
That's
in,
cool.
in
Right.
a knob,
Nice.
in a combo.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool, and that's quite exclusive to Marshall, and did a little thing for them. So I just use those two amps, and basically on the more open, rockier songs like Hold Back the River and things, I'll use the Marshall. For things like Let It Go, I use the Victory, and sometimes, you know, I'd use the Marshall as I basically use a head basically as a tube screamer, and I can kick that in, because sometimes I find it hard with you know, I'm like, well, or you know, or a clon or whatever. I just use an amp. That's raging.
I find some of the Klon stuff. I've tried quite a few versions of it, and except the original Klon, I've never seen one of those. Like, spot one of those.
I
in the
saw one
wild.
of them Denmark Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I find them
I said how much,
bit
and I said what? And he basically did $2,000. That's not worth $2,000.
I find it, and I've never had an original one, but ones that have been made spec by particular pedal makers and stuff like that, and I just find that you lose a lot of bottom end off it.
They bottom out a bit, yeah.
Well, they get like, you lose a lot of the bottom end, and I find that, and maybe it's just maybe they just don't have the particular. I mean, I don't know the technical specs, but like the transistors or whatever, and the capacitors or whatever they have in the original. But I find it makes the tone a bit plasticky, but people swear by them. And maybe it's because I don't go into a cranked amp. Maybe it's for something like.
Do you know what? I don't know. I only. I feel like they came in quite. They, you know, like guitar pedals and things, didn't they? They tend to be like quite fashionable.
Yeah.
And I feel like they came in a few years ago, and I'd never heard of Klons growing up. For me, when I was younger, I don't know if I'm out of the loop. Maybe I am, but you know, I always remember like when I used to listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan, it was tube screamers or fuzzes, or the things like with fuzz faces, like with, or like the what's it Hendrix used, the not the Deja Vibe, but you know the
tone bender thing, is it?
I don't know what, you know, the original Vox. Oh no.
Is it Univibe or
Univibe? The original Univibe. There you go. And you know those things, and then I don't know, the clones of clones, you know, ended up being. But you know, like everyone. Yeah, I think when things become rare and they're not made anymore, that people then make reissues of them, and then you know, you create a market for them.
I know there's a guy.
It's quite.
There's a guy that I know in Rotherham who makes tone benders. He's got the license for the tone benders. They're called soul benders or something now. And he says half of the people that we sell to is like rich Japanese businessmen over in Japan, and they'll pay like crazy money for these things, right? Like, well, the originals were maybe when they were sold, I don't know, they were pretty cheap. It was it wasn't. But it's crazy when they're like 600 quid or something for a pedal, and just because it's a British handmade pedal.
Yeah, there's this guy with Frederick Effects do a little Klon thing, which is quite cool. But yeah, I don't really. I went through a little clone phase of trying to find things, and then I don't know. I'm starting to, especially playing bluesier stuff, or maybe more my own stuff.
Doing some original stuff. You were telling me you like doing kind of, you're singing and playing guitar, and it's kind of more bluesy. Based.
Yeah. I used to do it a lot more when I was younger, and you know, I had my own originals band called Cortes, which I had with a friend of mine called Sam Davis and Maris Alexa, and you know we were kind of, it was more song based, rock songs based things, and and that was fun, you know, and we put out some music, and we're still going to be putting out a couple of things.
It's on Spotify, innit? Because I'm sure I've listened to it and I was like, oh yeah, you can hear Andy singing in
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So having a go at it, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm at the moment I'm trying to do a little blues thing, and I'm actually starting a night on April the 20th.
Right.
At 6060 Guitars Sounds.
Right.
6060 Sounds in Denmark Street.
Okay.
And it's a new guitar shop, and it's run by really cool people, and they can facilitate having gigs in there and stuff. So I'm starting out on the 20th.
A jam night, or is it?
It's kind of more by invitation.
Right.
But it's something that I really wanted to try and put something together that people would come down to.
Yeah, definitely.
And try and get some cool people up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And the premise of the night is playing some people's original music, and being the backing band for it, and being a house band, and then we play a set of just some covers and some originals. And that's definitely more on the bluesier, guitar-y side of things for me personally. And so going back to the clon thing, I'm just starting to realise that I'm kind of like listening to a lot of my heroes and realise they have all their headroom in their volume. It's all in their guitar.
Yeah.
That range of volume and dynamics all in their guitars. Like Derek Trucks.
From just on the volume knob.
Just have it in it. They just have all that power in their guitar and an amp. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get as close to that as I can.
Yeah.
Trying to get as close to that as I can, and trying to find the right thing for that, but yeah, man. So if you're around, come down,
dude. Cool. I'd love to. When's the first date?
April the 20th. It's a Friday night,
dude. I'll share that. Yeah, and I'll be down for that.
It's a Friday night, so I'm gonna just figuring out who we're gonna get up for the first one, but it will be someone wicked.
60 Sounds in Denmark Street,
man. You should check them out. They're really cool. They're really cool dudes. I just did a little thing with my friend Michael Jablonka. I don't know if you know Michael Jablonka.
I don't know.
He plays guitar with Michael Kawanuka.
Right, cool.
And he's awesome, man. You should check out his band. He's serious. He's wicked. And you should check him out. And we did a little thing down there. And it's, as you know, some guitar shops, go in there and they're just horrible. You know what I mean? And it's quite a personal thing. But these guys are so cool. It's
like going to the dentist.
It is. It's weird.
That vibe when they're like standing over you, watching you. Like
there was one in Sheffield it's gone now, but there used to be one in Sheffield. There was a guy who obviously was a Malmsteen fan. This middle-aged guy with the full kind of French Duke Buffon thing going on. Would walk around with a wireless system, just shredding. His big guitar shop. It was like, I don't know. It was like Sound Academy or something like that. They just walk around the shop, and it's like, you go in there as a 12-year-old, like, can I try Marshall amp, or can I try Les Paul or whatever? It's just so crazy.
And it's quite personal, isn't it? Because you're there and it's like it's a bit like changing in front of people in a weird way. It's really weird.
Exactly.
I hate when you're playing and then someone else is playing. I'm like,
when you've got like 4 people trying amps
and stuff, and this is weird. This is there's no one else hearing this.
There's always somebody who's just trying to show their licks.
To what key someone else is playing, and so then it makes it slightly. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden it's like, oh no, this sounds horrible. But
that's hilarious.
But
There's I'm trying to remember. There was my mate Chris Aspin. He's a bass player. He's been on one of the other episodes of the podcast, and there was a guy trying a bass out, and it was a lick that he'd obviously learnt off Scott Devine's Bass Lessons, which is like some YouTube channel where you can where he teaches bass. And my mate went up to him, and then this guy was obviously kind of trying to demonstrate that he was mint, like bringing all his best licks out. And my mate went up to him, Scott Devine, and he went, yeah. It's like called him out on it. It's like
what, on his licks in the shop? That's funny.
But no, cool, man. Dude, I don't want to hold you too long because I know you've got to get to this rehearsal.
Oh, no, mate. Is it 1?
It's not 1 yet. It's
about
right,
5
to.
That's all right, mate. We'll go to 10 past. I don't know how long you want to chat for.
Well,
we can chat.
Let's.
I'll chat forever,
dude.
Do you know what I mean?
Me too, man. Me too. I'm just getting back into the swing of podcasting as well. It's like, we had a bit of a break because I didn't have the facilities to do all the setup for the for it and everything now. But it's back now, and we're going to try and do one a week, trying to get like players, some artists, some industry people. So if you know anybody, send them my way, and
absolutely, mate.
Definitely, we're trying to get an interview with I don't know if it's going to come off, but hopefully there's a very old school guitar player that I'm trying to wangle an interview with.
Who?
So yeah, I'm not going to say because if it doesn't come off, it's going to look
Jeff
stupid.
Beck.
Yeah.
Oh god, that'd be so sick.
I know somebody told me a story where
I don't know. I said Jeff Beck. I was watching a thing of Jeff Beck the other day, and I was like, Jeff Beck's sick.
I didn't get him for ages. I didn't understand.
He's so sick.
Like, I was kind of, what is he doing? And then I saw him come on and do a solo with Stevie Wonder, and because if you're not, it's a bit of an acquired taste. It's
to be tuned into it.
And he come on and did this thing where he's playing Stevie Wonder. It was like Superstition or something like that. But he come on and did this guitar solo with all the dive bombing and all the wine bar stuff. And in my head, I went, oh, right, no. Nobody else would have done that if they came on. Like, how he did it was so unique. And so weird. And also, a lot of guys maybe would do that now, but like, he was coming up under Jimmy Page's shadow in the 60s and stuff like that. Super unique. And I get it now. Same with Prince though. For ages, like, Prince was like, I was a Michael Jackson fan growing up, so when I was listening to Prince, I was like, this sounds weird and I don't know why people love it. And then I saw a documentary and just something in my head just went, and I was like, right, love it.
Do you know, I was like Jimi Hendrix. I didn't understand it.
Really?
Yeah, because I was just into like more things being quite clinical, I think, when I was younger, and in my head it sounded messy, and then maybe I wasn't mature enough to fully understand how sexy Jimi Hendrix was in a way. And then as I got older and older in my adolescence, I was like, oh my god, this is badass.
I think your
puberty, I think maybe.
If I'm 9, I can't. If I'm 10 years old and just start playing guitar,
Daddy, what's that weird man doing with that?
No, it would be weird. It would be weird. Do you know what I mean? And you know, and maybe other things were a bit more easy to digest.
I always think with Hendrix, when I've seen live shows of him, especially later on, if you watch the Isle of Wight thing, he's mesmerizing to watch, and it's almost like, and this was some baked kind of thought that I came up with, but it's almost like he's a dancer who just happens to play guitar, because he's got this crazy outfit on, he's wailing around on stage and all this
silhouette.
And then there's also silhouette. Just some crazy noises coming out that no one's ever heard before, you know.
So the biggest innovator. That's what it's kind of. It's just. It's the one. Really,
I think that one of the things as well about Hendrix that people miss out on a lot, not everybody, but he did the big fuzz wah guitar solos and all that sort of thing and all the feedback, but he's clean playing and he's like, I tell you, he does a lot of it. John Mayer's playing is so kind of like, it's like a kind of cleaned up version of it, like all the Little Wing stuff, all the like chords. I love that sort of thing.
Bits and
and taking a chord shape and kind of like fluttering around in like rhythm and lead. Where does it kind of?
Well, man, you know, we all play those licks as well, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We all play those pretty, you know, kind of.
Yeah, it almost becomes like the gospel style now.
I was literally just about to say that. It's funny how that's that's kind of you'd associate that with a more modern way of playing guitar, which tends to be quite hip at the moment. Like, I see a lot of young cats and they're playing like. Yeah, it's funny because they're not like necessarily bending a string and like digging into their guitars. They're very clinical and they're playing the almost, you know, chords in a lead way, which is awesome.
I don't have the brain power for it. I have to go through a lot of noodling in order to figure out anything.
Absolutely. But then, you know, it's like Hendrix was kind of doing that in his own way. In 67. I think
he did a lot of playing for other people, didn't he? He was basically a session guy touring, and then nobody could live with his on stage antics, and it was like he was always trying to steal the show. I think he got sacked from James.
There's a lot of like, there's a lot of like Isley Brothers as well when he's playing. If you listen to some of the Isley Brothers, you can hear it as well.
Clapton said to him on one song, he said, "Oh, I love this song," didn't it? And Hendrix went, "That's me playing the guitar." I think like there's quite a few things where that happened.
That's so cool.
Is Clapton still? I mean, because you're a big Clapton fan, aren't you?
Yeah, man. All of them. All of them. I'm big. To be honest, him. I love the Allman Brothers. They were probably, because that was probably my favourite record growing up, was Live at the Fillmore.
The only song that I really know about the Allman Brothers, although I've heard quite a lot of their stuff, I just can't remember the songs, but it's Jessica's the Top Gear thing, they did that.
I think that's a bit post Duane Allman,
right?
But there was a period where Duane as well was one of the, he was, you know, just this dude playing on big soul records as well, playing on The Weight, Aretha Franklin,
right? Okay.
you know, he was doing all that stuff, playing with Derek and the Dominoes next minute. And his band started the whole Southern rock movement.
Right.
I love that record because it mixes like, there were long jams. So for me, when I was younger, I could actually play over and over because you know, there's like a song called "A Memory of Elizabeth Reed."
Right.
Dwayne Allman, Dickie Betts, Eric, and then the kind of obvious big blues stalwarts prior to that. But
I was into Lynyrd Skynyrd a lot, so I think is Lynyrd Skynyrd before or after the Allman Brothers?
I think they're after. I think the Allman Brothers predate that whole kind of long hair, the kind of long solo sort of Freebird and all that.
Yeah, bell-bottom trousers.
Man. But you know, Greg Allman's voice is just ridiculous. I love his voice, and actually, funnily enough, when we was on tour with James, we were going past their hometown place called Macon, Georgia, and we had a day off, and I was actually really hungover, and they're like, guys, we're going to go to the Allman Brothers' house, and they got a museum, and they got such a big following and fan base in America, you know, like real die-hard fans, you know, they mean a lot to a lot of people, you know, all the whole mushroom movement and the people just getting wasted and stuff is awesome, sick. And I was feeling so sorry for myself, and I was like, "Nah, I ain't going." I remember James going, "No, Andy, you should come." I was like, "No, I ain't going." And I don't know, and I knew that that was a big thing, and I thought better of it last minute, and I went downstairs in the hotel, and I was like, "All right, I'm going."
Dude, suck it up and get in there.
And went in there, and this guy was showing us around. It was where they wrote all their songs and stuff, and where they all lived together, and they had all these instruments in like these glass boxes, and then this guy goes, "Oh, that's Dwayne's Layla guitar." And I was like, "What? The riff?" Like, and he's like, "Yes," because Dwayne played the high part.
Really? Yeah,
that's
because
not
Clapton
Eric.
never plays it live, does he?
The high part was an Albert King lick.
Right,
and then Dwayne was like, I think it's a sped up Albert King lick. Yeah. And he played it on the record, you know, all that. And that was a guitar that it was recorded on.
Oh wow.
That's
what guitar was it?
And it was a gold top, it was a 58 gold top. Or 59, I don't know. I think it's maybe some guitar dude will go, no, I think you'll find. But anyway, and then the guy then turns around, and then a couple of minutes later he opens up the box and he gets the guitar out.
Wow.
And he said, "Oh, you know, have it." And we had a little play on it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, And I was like, I'm so glad that I came today.
Yeah, dude, my hangover's gone.
Oh my god! But yeah, and they have this whole ethos where they have these like famous legendary guitars, and they fly them out to, I think like Santana will play it 1 minute, and Derek Trucks will use it, and they have this lovely ethos where they're like, they don't believe that they should just be museum pieces and that people should still play the guitars, which is nice, you know, because, you know, there's all these amazing guitars out there and they're not getting played.
No, they're hung on walls of millionaires.
And it's weird. That's very, very...
Yeah.
It's
kind of...
It's annoying.
It's like the joke about art, isn't it? Where it's like art's for rich people to look at and hang on the walls where no one else can see, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It becomes that. It's strange because those instruments will sound so incredible because of how they aged and stuff. I've got one of my acoustic over there is one of the ones that it's one that my dad bought and I nicked off him, but it must be 30 years old now, or 25, 30 years old. And it was like decent guitar. I mean, it's a Takamine, so it's not a Taylor or Martin, but just how that's aged over years, and it's got a sound now that I just can't.
Yeah, and you won't be able to get that with something else. Yeah, man. Yeah, I've got freaking loads of guitars, mate. Loads of nice.
Yeah,
nice
I saw the rack that you're taking out to.
No, it's too many. Who's
this guy, Michael Schenker or something?
Oh, no, you know what? I love. I've got the stuff.
No, but you need it for something like that, especially if you've got all the tunings.
I do, but I can only play one at a time. But my girlfriend's a bit like, I was talking to her about getting another one and everything. She's like, honestly, you don't need another one.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But I know.
I've had that argument with we've just moved into this one. I've still got some in the car and some in the lockup and stuff, and I'm just kind of... Sorry, this is one of the busiest areas of Hackney, and these windows are shockingly bad as well. So, yeah, and I just keep sneaking them in one a day. Really? Like, she walks in and she goes, Something's different. There's like an extra guitar.
They're nice bits of furniture though. They look nice. You know?
Exactly.
Get them all the same colour and she won't notice.
That was it. Yeah. Well, I managed to move in here before, and I managed to get the guitar rack set up. And she kind of walked in, and I'd made sure everything else was really neat and tidy.
Good nick. No, it is, mate. You've done well.
It's it's all right as long as at some point we're gonna get the windows are getting replaced, but that will make things better. But
yeah.
You've done well to get all your gear in the living room.
Sorry?
You've done well to get all your gear in the living room.
That's true, yeah.
Not bad, mate, not bad.
I mean, she'd have a nightmare. She'd have a nightmare if she came back and saw this today with this also. This is great. It's nice, actually. I think.
No, it's very. I came in and I was like, hang on, they've got their stuff sorted right out.
Dude, when I was living in the other place and we were doing the setups when we were having the jams, that was how ridiculous
mental.
Was that?
So much gear.
That's something I'd like to do again. Like, it would have been nice for us to kind of just play some blues and stuff like that, but I kind of feel like I need to get to a point where I've got a room that it's all set up because it was taking us 2 or 3 hours.
Let us know if ever you do that. I'd be well up for playing a couple of songs.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do something like that anyway. I've got some ideas for some little projects and stuff. But awesome. Dude, I don't want to hold you too much because of your...
Thanks for having me, Jim McGrother.
No, dude, it's been...
And I'll see you playing football.
Yes, mate. We had some right battles at football. I haven't been for a few weeks. And so he managed to knock me off the ball a few times the other day. But we had some right scraps.
Oh, no, it's really good because the football... There's loads of musicians, and it's actually a really nice thing. I thought I may give it a shout out to Muso Football because I think it keeps us... It's... For a bunch of musicians, actually, we're not doing too bad. Running about and trying to stay fit.
And when do we get to see other guitar players, or when do you get, after the people who like ships in the night, people, and you do get to kind of to meet up with people.
It's nice,
regular.
It's nice. There's a nice camaraderie.
And everybody's not too violent on the old tackles, apart from Galeno. Like he's a nightmare. He needs to sort himself out, that kid. But basically everyone's aware that everyone's got to work.
It's quite funny when occasionally it gets a bit weird, but it's fun. Yeah. It's good fun.
James bollocked me. I think one of the last times he came down to it because basically some newish guy had blasted the ball from like 5 yards away when I was in the net. It hit me straight in the knackers. And so I like being a northerner and proud and stuff. I made sure I kind of got in on him a couple of times after that. James, I think I just remember James shouting, "Jim, you just kicked the ball in your knackers. Calm down."
James Hawaii?
No, James Bay.
James, did he? Oh,
boxed me. I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, because James came down, didn't he?
Yeah.
The other day, yeah. But
no, it's great. Nice. But you need to get into the footy.
Yeah, mate.
I'm more of a tennis guy.
It's a good laugh.
Yeah. No, Andy, thank you so much for coming down, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
I'll release it. I'll release this tomorrow, I think. Get it edited and tag you in it. And
fantastic.
Great. Good luck with the tour and everything, and your own music. And the night is
sick. 20th of April.
20th of April. 6060 Sounds in Denmark Street.
Check it out.
Yes, mate. Thank you very much.
The Kind of About Music podcast.